You've taught your children to be polite and friendly, but have you taught them when not to be?
Hi there. Do you live around here?
Uh-huh.
You going to school?
Yes.
Well, I could give you a ride.
Last year, 50,000 children disappeared, many of them from nice, safe neighborhoods.
It's okay. Come on, help me.
Talk to your children about not talking to strangers, and do it today. A message for your child's safety from the American Medical Association.
Red Bluff. Very small redneck town. Everybody knew everybody, it seemed like. Grew up with pretty much the same kids for the most part that went to kindergarten with and graduated high school. Living in this small town, and there had been murders in the past of school friends. Rashell was always funny because she was always wanting to put herself out there, and I was always really shy as a kid, and she kind of pulled me out. And so every time there's a talent show, she was like, we have to do it. And she'd like help coordinate these, we'd coordinate these dances, and we would just practice and practice during lunchtime to stuff like boogie nights. And I don't know, we had a really good friendship. I loved her to death. She was a great person. She had a big heart, so I think it's sad. She ended up, when we were going into junior high, her parents decided to send her to the Catholic school. And we had a little tiff that little kids do in the 6th grade when you're like 11, and we had a fight and we didn't talk for a while, and she called one day and we kind of rekindled our friendship because I'd missed her. She was like my best friend. She'd talked her mom supposedly into coming back to the junior high to public school, so I thought she was going to be coming back there. I just remember one day, it was so funny, it was sunny, and I went out to get the paper like I always did for my dad, and I picked up the paper, and I was like, oh, who's that? Because the face on it looked familiar when it was rolled up, and I unrolled it, and Rashell was on the front page, and I was like, what's she on the front page of the paper for? And then I saw the headline, and it just, I couldn't believe it. So they had found her body. She'd been abducted on her way to school. And they found her on one of the back roads, bound, and she was shot in the back of the head. I mean, it's been a long time since she was killed, and it still sometimes makes me emotional to think about what she might have suffered, and that hurts.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. I'm Robin Johnson. Williamson County District Attorney Ed Walsh today criticized the way a special McLennan County grand jury is probing into Henry Lee Lucas's past. Lucas has recanted his confessions to more than 300 murders across the country.
Lucas has confessed to more than 200 murders, but tonight it appears he may not have committed many of those crimes.
Lucas has confessed to the killing, but the parents don't believe he did it. They've conducted their own investigation and say Lucas was out of the state at the time.
Controversy continues to swirl around the confessions of Henry Lee Lucas.
Now, of all the thousands of murders Henry Lee Lucas confessed to over the years, he was only convicted of one capital murder. He died in prison in 2001, serving a life sentence.
I don't remember when he was arrested, but I remember he had confessed to killing Rashell, and then supposedly he was able to lead them to remains of other bodies, and he may have, I guess, supposedly he knew stuff that nobody would have known, but... They're just, I don't know, I guess it was kind of like that hope that maybe it wasn't real, maybe you dreamt it, maybe that person's not really gone, and then eventually you just have to really stop and process it at a later point in your life, which is kind of weird, because I felt like I should have dealt with that one. You know, I was 12, 13 years old.
In the pines, where the sun never shines, you'll shiver when the cold wind blows. There's a grave in the pines, where the sun never shines. There's a grave that's shaded with the pines. My true love lies in a narrow grave in the pines where the sun never shines.